Yeah, after I got off the train, all them Palestinian people on the train, the guys on the train, I was glad to get off it, yeah. So when I got off at Green Park and meeting my pals, I went, God, mate, I couldn't believe it, what it was like on that train. Anyway, and in the end, we finished what we was doing, and I asked him to give me a lift home. I didn't want to go back on the train, yeah. So he said, all right, yeah, we'll give you a lift back home. So on the way back home, I was talking about the fights that I'd had as an unlicensed fighter. And I was also talking about Jimmy Tibbet and Johnny Critterton from Lingfield. I used to go down Johnny Critterton's place in Lingfield and do quite a bit of work for him. And me, Jimmy Tibbet, and Cliff Fields. And I've been there quite a few times doing bits of work for him. And this particular day we went down there, and he had two sons, Johnny Critterton, and those they're quite travellers, aren't they? They're all good boxers, you know, the travellers, they're good fighters. And the two Johns was out on the big grass, what used to be a ground stadium there, yeah? And they're out there doing a little bit of boxing, out sparring with each other, yeah? And me and Cliff are looking, and so we walked out there, me and Cliff, and and we're talking and watching them. And Cliff got the gloves on, and was moving around with one of Johnny Crittenden's boys, which is about, I don't know, 12 stone, maybe not even that. And Cliff's like giving him a few clumps and hurting him, you know what I mean? So I said, can I have a go, Cliff? You know what I mean? Come out and do a bit of sparring with you. And we had, mate, I'm telling you something, right? Cliff Hills can whack, yeah? And so can I. You know what I mean? Me and him had wars. I mean, this is supposed to be a little sparring session, you know what I mean? It was Cliff that started it. Cliff started it. He was the one who started finding big bombs, you know what I mean? And hit me on the eyes and on top of the head, and shaking my head up, you know. One time hit me so hard, well, I had to go on the floor on one knee, because I knew if he hit me again, he'd knock me out, yeah? It was like, it just all the ringing in my head. And I thought, right, you want a war? We have a war, yeah? And me and him had a war, mate. I mean, I was hitting him with some good, solid punches, Cliff. You know what I mean? And he was feeling them punches, mate. He was feeling them, but he was giving me some good punches back, you know. Me and Cliff, I'd say, I would have loved me and Cliff to have met in the ring, you know, to actually, like, unlicensed fights. I wouldn't like to say actually who would have won, yeah? Because we always say any fight we go on, we win. I would win the fight. I say, yeah, I'd win the fight. You know, like Lenny, I'd win the fight. Roy Shaw, I'd win the fight. Johnny Waldron, I'd win the fight. Any one of them, I'd win the fight. You know, that was me in my old nut. I'd win the fight. But to spar with them gloves on and have no bandages, and the gloves were like, you know, you could really feel the knuckles. You know what I mean? You could really feel the knuckles part of it on your head. I know because he was about the same size as me, Cliff, about 6'2", 6'3", maybe a bit smaller than that, yeah. And I was 6'1", and like and I used to like whacking around the ribs, around the rib section. I used to be quite good at that, smashing around the ribs and come up with a uppercut. You know what I mean? And I've hit him a few times with boxing, mate, and I used to love it. You're mucking out sparring, but it gets sometimes when you're sparring like that, and there's no one around. There's only the two boys. The two boys are out there, and they've had a little move around with Cliff. I've had a move around, and all of a sudden, me and Cliff are moving around together, and his punches being really fun, mate. Really, really good punches, And after, we're all marked up, and the faces are marked up. You know what I mean? And you're going in, and I say, Jim, come here, mate, get it sorted. The me and Cliff fight, you don't want to fight, Cliff. Leave off. We work together. We're together. I mean, come on, try and get a fight. Ask Eddie Richardson to sort it out in the Cat's Whiskers or Harvey Social Club. Somewhere we can get it together. Even I'll see what I can do. But as I say, we was always out working, and that time that he had to fight with his travellers, and that splint of glass went in his eye, and and it just killed Cliff. He went from mate 19, 20 stone, drinking like a fish, right down to about, I don't know, the picture that I see of him that Matt Legg put up. him in the calf. I wish Matt Legg hadn't put it up because I always remember Cliff as a man, yeah? As a big, big, powerful man. I know it was part of Matt Legg's video, yeah? But I wish they hadn't put it up because it upset me, yeah? Seeing Cliff Fields like that, you know? Seeing him like, 10 stone? You get a guy that was like, 19, 20 stone, mate. I'm a big, powerful man. And you get him about 10 stone, maybe even less than that. And the shirts he had, his neck was like, I don't know, like a little arm, like a little wrist, and it was like terrible thin face, and he didn't have long to live after that. He was on his deathbed then, mate. You know what I mean? But to see that, it broke my heart. No one wants to see that with someone that they like, and someone they know, and he's just Cliff Fields, a proper guy, And do you know what? What surprised me years ago, when I was quite a young boy, 17, Cliff Field couldn't have been no older than me, 19, maybe 20, I don't know. He works in the White Hart acting with a few people like Georgie Clark, Freddie Clark, Manny Clark's dad and uncle, and there's a few other people there, Maury Bush and Dave Griffiths, and to think that Cliff Fields worked there, we had that big fight there. It's crazy, you know what I mean? And to think that people were telling me about him, and I thought, wow, I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even know he was there. It was only Manny Clark that told me he was there, Yeah, it's a small world, mate. And to meet Cliff Fields in prison, and I was at a dinner queue, and Cliff Fields was behind me, and I could feel something behind me, big, yeah. And I looked behind, and it was this geezer, big, massive head on him. And I looked at it, you could see his eyes all puffed up. And I went, hello, mate, and stopped, he was Cliff Fields, and we used to have coffee in the cell, have a tea together, and he was Red Band, wasn't he? He was a Red Band, and it was in Sea-Wing. Listen, he'd done what he wanted to do, Cliff. The Screws let him do what he wanted to do, mate. He just went where he wanted because he was Red Band, and that was it, Yeah, Cliff was sweet, mate. He had it good in there. It was a blue band. I'm not quite sure what the blue bands would. I think the blue bands had more freedom than the red band. I'm not quite sure now, but I know Cliff was a red band, and all the Screws loved him. When I say loved him, I don't think they loved him. I think they was more petrified of him, you know what I mean? Because he was a big lump, and I've seen him in the gym a few times, and there was no bag in the gym, but I see him in the gym, moving about and all that, and throwing the weights about. He wasn't very strong. He wasn't a big guy like them. You expect him to be strong. He was powerful. I mean, he was powerful, but not strong powerful. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of, you ain't got to be big and muscular to be powerful as a fighter, but he wasn't muscular and powerful with weights, like I was muscular and powerful with the weights, yeah, but he was just powerful, big, no muscles and nothing like that, couldn't lift a weight to save his life, but I could, Yeah, old Cliff Fields, he was a nice guy, mate, and when I worked with him, he was a guy that you knew that you were safe, when you worked with him and Jimmy Tibbet, you knew you were safe, yeah. And the only thing with Cliff, after we used to work together, he'd always buy cans of beer, and we'd take him to the station and bits and pieces. Like a couple of times, Jimmy Tibbet's given me a lift home. I've got out of the car, Jimmy took him home because he's been too drunk to get onto the train, yeah. And that was the only thing with Cliff. He just liked to drink, mate. And let him, why not? You know what I mean? He's works, he earned his money. Anyway, bang, bang, Mal, nice one. Take